My beloved child, become still in this moment, for what is taking place is not merely a passing moment like any other. You may think that you have only happened to pause before a line of words, a sound, a message, or something appearing amid the countless noises of an ordinary day. You may think your hand merely touched this place unconsciously, that your eyes only passed over it as they usually do, that there is nothing special about stopping for a little while in the busy current of life. But my child, at a deeper level than what you can see, I have arranged an encounter, not a noisy encounter, not a sign that overwhelms you, but a gentle call placed at the exact moment when your heart needs to be awakened. I have seen the nights when you tossed and turned, the times you remained silent because you did not know whom to speak to, the sighs you hid beneath an appearance of normalcy, and even the moments when you told yourself you were still fine while inside you were more weary than you dared to admit. You thought everything that led you here was only a chain of scattered coincidences. But I want you to know that I can weave even the smallest things into a thread of guidance. A sentence you heard in passing many days ago, a nameless heaviness when night fell, a restlessness you could not explain, a pause that suddenly made you stop. All of these can become footprints of guidance when I desire to draw you out of an old state. You are not drifting aimlessly through this life. You are not someone lost among events no one cares about. I know you. I call you. I see you not only in the part you show others, but also in the places you have kept hidden for a very long time, where unspoken questions still lie like stones at the bottom of the water. There is a burden that has stayed with you for so long that you have almost come to believe it is a natural part of who you are. You have grown used to walking with silent tension, used to waking up without truly feeling rested, used to making every decision with a thin layer of fear wrapped around it, used to smiling so others will not worry. And then, when you are alone, feeling weariness spread like the evening shadows, I know you have tried to give it lighter names, a difficult season, a little pressure, a few low days, something that will pass if you just keep trying. But I do not glance over the weight within you. I do not dismiss what you are carrying. There are pressures that make no sound but can still leave the heart exhausted. There are battles no one sees, yet each day they take so much strength from you. I have seen you wading through the murky waters of anxiety, step by slow step, decision by difficult decision, each time wanting to move forward, yet feeling as though something were pulling you back. You have looked around and wondered why others seem to move farther, lighter, and more clearly, while you keep circling old things, only changing the shape of your worries without escaping them. You have compared your process with the journeys of others, then quietly concluded that perhaps you are slower, weaker, less capable. But my child, I do not use the crowd's measuring stick to measure the growth taking place in you. There are steps forward that are not found in being seen by others, but in the fact that you still have not given up. There are victories that do not mean running very fast, but daring to stop and return to me. There are seasons when I do not urge you to rise by your own strength, but invite you to be supported, untangled, and given a new foundation from within. If you keep forcing yourself to match the rhythm of others, you will forget the sound of my voice, calling you to walk according to the rhythm of grace, prepared uniquely for you. Remember Hagar in the wilderness, when she thought she had been left only with fear, humiliation, and a clouded future. She went into a dry place, a place where no one seemed to be watching, where her crying seemed to dissolve into the hot sand. But I met her there, not in a palace, not among a crowd, not when she was strong and honored, but right in the place where she was exhausted, confused, and thought herself forgotten. I named her situation, opened her eyes to see the water, and reminded her that the child beside her was still under my care. Do you see? I do not come only to those standing on high places. I also come to the one sitting in the wilderness, with no beautiful words left to say and no strength left to pretend. If I saw Hagar in the dry place, I also see you in your long night. If I opened her eyes to see the water nearby, I can also open your eyes to see the support you thought you had lost. Therefore, do not continue telling yourself that you must endure a little longer in loneliness. Do not treat exhaustion as your destiny. Do not call prolonged weariness the nature of your life. I did not create you to live in a state of constantly bracing yourself against something invisible. I do not want you to keep wearing a calm face while inside you are crying for help. Draw near to me in truth, without decorating yourself and without choosing perfect words. If you are tired, say you are tired. If you are afraid, say you are afraid. If you do not know which direction to take, tell me that you do not know. I am not offended by your weakness. I do not turn away when you are no longer strong. It is precisely where you stop pretending that I can begin to touch the knots you have held for far too long. I want you to understand that today's call does not come to frighten you, but to awaken you from paralysis. There are things I want to remove from your shoulders, but you have grown so accustomed to carrying them that when I place my hand upon them, you think you will lose control. There are worries I want to take from your heart, but you have used them as your way of preparing for the future. There are self-accusing voices I want to silence, but you have listened to them for so long that you have mistaken them for truth. Oh, my child, my truth does not crush you. My truth sets you free. My presence does not add more weight. My presence brings you back to the place where you can breathe, rest, and receive again the gentle courage to continue. From this moment on, you do not need to see yourself as someone left behind. You are being called by me out of the old cycle, not through force, but through patient love. Perhaps you will not see everything change immediately, but a door has opened within you as you are willing to listen. Perhaps the heaviness has not fully dissolved in one morning, but light has begun to touch the dark place. Perhaps you still have many questions, but you no longer have to ask them in loneliness. I am here, closer than your breath, gentler than the comfort of a loved one, steadier than anything you have ever leaned on. Lay down each part of the burden before me. Let me name the things you have not dared to name. Let me lead you out of the murky waters, one step at a time, until your feet touch firmer ground. You did not stop here by accident. You are being invited back into the peace I prepared for you long ago. My beloved child, when I lift you out of suffocating seasons, I do not do it merely so that you may feel lighter and continue living only for yourself. I raise you up so that your breath may become more peaceful, your steps more stable, and through you, a few places on this earth may be touched by my kindness. But my child, listen to me carefully. Being used does not mean you must burn yourself out. Being loved does not mean you must carry every pain of others upon your shoulders. Being given mercy does not mean you must open the door to every demand, every call, every need pulling you in different directions. I do not call you to become the savior of the world. I call you to become a faithful child in the portion entrusted to you, knowing how to love through guidance, to help through wisdom, to stop when I tell you to stop, and to step forward when I open the way. There are people I place before you so that you may listen to them with gentleness. There are people you can support only through quiet prayer and blessing from a distance. There are circumstances where you can reach out and intervene. But there are also circumstances where you must step back so that I can do what your hands cannot do. If you hold everything inside your heart, you will become so tired that you can no longer hear my voice clearly. And then you may think that I, myself, placed an unbearable burden upon you. But I do not load onto you what will break you. I do not rejoice to see you exhausted in the name of love. I do not want you to take depletion as proof of faithfulness. Service that pleases me is not born from guilt, nor is it fed by the fear of being abandoned. It is born from being near me, where you recognize what belongs to your portion and what must be handed back to me. Remember Moses in the days when he sat judging the people from morning until evening. He loved the people, carried a weighty responsibility, and wanted to bring justice to each one. But his father-in-law, Jethro, saw something that Moses himself may not yet have recognized. If he kept doing things that way, both he and the people would become exhausted. That counsel did not lessen Moses' value, nor did it make his calling smaller. On the contrary, it was wisdom arriving at the right time so he would know how to share the burden, establish order, and preserve strength for the long journey. Do you see? Sometimes maturity is not found in doing more things, but in knowing what must be entrusted to others, what must be discerned, and what should not be carried alone. I am not glorified by chaos within you. I am revealed through a life that has order, peace, compassion, and also healthy limits. Therefore, you must learn the holiness of boundaries. Boundaries are not a lack of love. Boundaries are how you protect what I am building within you so that you can love in a more sustainable way. When you say no to something that is not your portion, you are saying yes to obedience. When you step back from a need that is draining you dry, you are not becoming selfish. You are acknowledging that I am the one who cares, while you are only an instrument in my hand. When you help someone without using your help to purchase affection, you are stepping into freedom. When you give without expecting others to recognize you, you are learning to love with a cleaner love. I want you to serve with an open heart, but not with a heart that no longer has doors, no longer has rest, and no longer has the ability to discern. You cannot keep pouring out if you do not return to be filled. No matter how beautiful a vessel may be, it will become empty if it only leans outward and is never placed back beneath the source of water. When you begin to feel irritated toward those you once wanted to help, when you find yourself wanting to disappear from every conversation, when even small things feel heavy, when you give but secretly resent it inside, that is not a sign that you have failed. It is a gentle reminder that you have wandered too far from the place of renewal. I do not come to scold you because you are tired. I come to call you home. I do not say, "Why are you so weak?" I say, "Come near to me. Rest here. Let me care for you." There are times when the most sacred thing you can do is not to keep striving, but to sleep enough, eat well, become still, breathe slowly, and let your heart be quiet before me. I created you as a precious whole, not as a machine that only knows how to work. Give, Cien, and endure. Your body needs to be cared for. Your mind needs to rest. Your heart needs to be heard. The rhythm of your life needs space to breathe. When you disregard your limits, you also disregard the vessel I desire to use for a long time. I do not need you to destroy yourself to prove your love. I want you to live, grow, and become healthy in peace, so that your service does not become a flame that flares up and burns out, but a lamp tended with oil each day. You are my beloved child before you do anything for anyone. Never reverse that order. You are not loved because you are useful. You become useful because you have been loved. Then, as you learn boundaries, I will also teach you how to carry seasons of fruitfulness without losing tenderness. Success needs to be sanctified just as suffering does. When things go well, when praise comes, when others see the good in you, your heart can be pulled in two directions, either to exalt yourself or to fear losing what you have and cling to it until you can hardly breathe. Therefore, I will teach you a simple yet powerful rhythm of life. Return the glory to me and keep gratitude alive in the small things. When something good happens, do not rush immediately to the next thing as though blessing were obvious and ordinary. Pause. Breathe. And say to me, Father, thank you. A small word of thanksgiving can keep your heart from pride. A moment of remembering the source of grace can protect you from the illusion that everything was created by your own strength. When you are praised, you do not need to deny the gift I have placed within you. Humility is not pretending that you have nothing good. Humility is knowing where that good thing came from and what purpose it must serve. You can receive encouragement with gratitude, but do not build your home inside praise. You can rejoice when your work bears fruit, but do not take the results as your identity. You can walk through doors that open, but do not forget the one who opened them. And when something does not go according to your desire, when a plan slows down, when others do not recognize you, when the work does not blossom as you hoped, do not collapse as though everything has ended. Say to me, Father, teach me. Gratitude will keep you from pride, and a teachable heart will keep you from despair. You often think that when I am silent, it means I am no longer answering. But my silence is not distance, and it is certainly not a sign that I have released you into confusing currents by yourself. There are things I do not reveal immediately, because if you knew them too soon, your heart would be burdened by what you are not yet strong enough to carry. There are answers I withhold, not to make you suffer, but to protect you from haste. There are doors I have not yet opened, not because I have forgotten the key, but because something inside you still needs to be prepared so you can step in without losing your peace. The potter does not rush to place a vessel that is still soft before the fire. The gardener does not pull a young sprout out of the soil to force it to grow quickly. I am the same. I work according to the rhythm of life, according to the ripeness of the appointed time, according to wisdom that is not governed by your impatience. There are times when you stand at a crossroads and cry out for me to show the way. You long for a very clear sign, a strong confirmation, an assurance great enough to make all your worries vanish immediately. You want me to speak in a way you can easily recognize. You want the sky to open. You want every door to line up by itself before your eyes. But many times I lead you in quietness, through a gentle prompting, through a peace that is very thin yet enduring, through one path gradually closing while another quietly widens. You need to learn that I do not always guide with an echo, but I always guide with faithfulness. If you look for me only in noisy things, you may miss the very gentle signs I place on your road. If you believe only when everything is explained, you will become weary. But if you believe because you know I am your Father, you will be able to step forward even when there is only enough light for one step. Remember Esther, who was brought into the palace at a time that, at first glance, seemed only like a turn of human circumstance. She did not see the whole picture from the beginning. She did not know why she had been placed in a special position while her people were standing before danger. Perhaps on many nights, she too wondered why her path had led her into a strange place, why the silence of heaven seemed to stretch on, why events followed one another like scattered pieces she could not understand. But at the appointed moment, what had seemed accidental revealed a deep arrangement. Her position was not merely to be seen, but to become a bridge of deliverance. Do you see? There are places where I have placed you today that you do not yet understand. There are relationships, lessons, doors, and even delays quietly serving something greater. When the time comes, you will recognize that I prepared it long ago. In the deep layers you once thought were silence, I know the night of waiting is not easy. I know that when you cannot hear the answer, Your mind begins to build many possibilities, many fears, many questions that exhaust you. You may blame yourself. You may think you have missed something. You may suspect that I have answered others, but not you. But my beloved child, do not let stillness become a place where fear builds a throne. There are nights when I am blowing the wind of preparation through places you cannot see. Long ago, before my people crossed the sea, the path did not appear in the first moment in the way human eyes expected. A long wind through the night worked before dawn revealed the open way. You are the same. There are movements I am carrying out in hidden places, arranging a person, softening a circumstance, closing a danger, opening an opportunity, teaching you to become steadier, making your heart brighter, so that when the way appears, you will know it was not the result of your force, but the grace I had prepared. So do not see waiting as an empty room. See it as the place where I train you to know me more deeply. In waiting, you learn that peace is not when you hold all the answers, but when you know you are being held. In waiting, you learn that faith does not only sing when the door opens, but also knows how to breathe softly when the door remains closed. In waiting, you learn that my timing is not late, even though it often does not resemble your schedule. I never let you walk in circles without meaning. Even the stretches of road that seem slow, if you place them in my hands, can become places where you are trained, protected, purified, and prepared for a more enduring season. Keep your heart tender before the ways I work. Do not force me to act according to the pattern you have imagined. I can use a delay to save you from haste. I can use a rejection to move you toward a truer door. I can use a quiet space to heal the rush within you. I can use a season no one sees to cause your roots to sink more deeply into trust. What I do does not always immediately make you feel lighter, but it always moves toward your true life. I do not only want to bring you to an outcome, I want to form within you a heart that knows how to remain, to listen, to discern, and to walk without being governed by panic. Therefore, when you have not yet seen any clear sign, keep your heart close to me. When you still do not understand the meaning of what is happening, trust that I am still coordinating the parts you cannot touch. When you stand at a crossroads, do not choose hurriedly because you fear wasting time. Become still and recognize the rhythm of peace I place within you. When the night is long and only the sound of your own breathing remains, remember that I can still work in the deepest silence. I do not need noise in order to reveal power. I do not need you to see everything in order to complete what I have begun. I am going before you. I am with you. And I am also preparing behind you the testimonies that one day will make you look back and understand that every small piece you thought was scattered had been placed into a greater picture. My beloved child, there are seasons when you look at yourself and sigh, as though your life were only a small point of light beneath a vast sky, too faint for anyone to notice, too ordinary to contribute to anything meaningful. You see people who seem to walk in a clear calling, who are known by many, entrusted with great things, mentioned in crowded places, and then you wonder whether you truly have a place in the work I am doing. But my child, I do not look at your life through the measure of applause. I do not weigh your value by how many people know you, by outward brilliance, by drifting praise, or by the speed at which the world updates itself about you. I look at the depth of the love you carry, the faithfulness you keep in hidden places, and the heart that still chooses what is good, even when no one witnesses it. Before me, a quiet yet pure life can release a fragrance farther than a noisy life that is empty within. Do not despise small things done with an upright heart. A word you speak at the right time can keep someone from giving up. A gentle silence from you can prevent a wound from spreading. One time when you choose forgiveness instead of retaliation can stop a stream of bitterness that has passed through many people. A kind gaze you give to someone who is being looked down upon can remind them that they still have worth. A hand you extend when someone thinks they have been forgotten can become a sign of my mercy touching them. You think these things are small because they do not immediately make a sound. But in the deep realm, they are living seeds. And when a seed has been placed in my hand, it is never lost in vain. There are seeds that sprout before your eyes, but there are also seeds that grow in the heart of another person years later, at a time you know nothing about. I am the one who remembers hidden things, and not one act of love falls away from my care. Remember the poor widow who gave 2 small coins in the temple. In the eyes of many, that offering was insignificant compared with the great gifts placed down by the wealthy. But I saw what the world did not see, not the size of the offering, but the depth of the heart. She did not bring what was left over in order to be noticed. She brought her small yet truthful portion in trust. And what seemed to be ignored by everyone was recognized by me as a great beauty. Do you see? I am never dazzled by display. I see the tears behind closed doors. The times you still do what is right, even when tired. The sacrifices no one thanks you for. The prayers no one hears. The quiet choices that have kept you from darkness. In my hand, what is small and offered in love can carry the weight of heaven. Perhaps you have wanted to tear out a few chapters of your life, to bury them so deeply that no one would know. To live as though those days had never existed. You feel ashamed of the times you were weak, of the cracks in the past, of the decisions you wish you had never made, of the wounds that left marks on the way you love, the way you trust, and the way you see life. But my beloved child, I am not afraid of your dark chapters. I do not turn my face away from the pages you want to hide. When you place them in my hands, I do not use them to condemn you. I use them to write restoration. What you thought was only evidence of brokenness can become the place where my kindness is revealed most brightly. The places that once hurt do not have to remain places where you forever bow your head if you allow me to heal them. They can become testimonies that life can still rise from ashes. You think your wounds make you less beautiful, but I see something deeper. When a wound is touched by my love, it no longer remains a doorway for shame, but becomes a scar that tells the story of grace. A scar does not deny that you once hurt, but it also declares that pain did not win. It says that you were once broken, but you were lifted up. You once cried, but tears were not the final sentence. You once passed through a long night, but dawn still found you. And because you have trembled in storms before, you will know how to sit beside someone who is trembling without rushing to judge them. Because you have tasted loneliness, you will know the value of a gentle presence. Because you have been wounded by words, you will know how to keep your own lips more pure. I can turn the things you were once ashamed of into a source of compassion. Turn the place where you were once weak into a place where you know how to lift others. And turn the story you once wanted to hide into a lamp for someone who is lost. But you must understand, I do not call you to wear your pain like a garment to show how much you have endured. Nor do I want you to live forever in the role of the wounded one, so that every decision revolves around what happened. I heal you so that you may step out into freedom. And from that freedom, you can touch others with truth that has been refined. The world often gives one another hurried encouragement, beautiful but empty phrases, promises that do not have enough strength to remain with the suffering through the night. But I want to place within you a comfort with weight, a mercy that has passed through fire, a tenderness that is not weakness, and a wisdom that is not arrogance. When you tell someone that they can still rise, those words will not come only from an idea, They will come from the journey you have walked through with me. When you sit beside someone who is in despair, you will not need to say too much, because the peace I have sown within you will become a place where they can breathe. There are people I will bring near to you, not so that you will repair them by your own strength, but so that your life may become a small sign of hope. Perhaps you will not preach to crowds, stand on a high platform, or be mentioned in great stories, but you can be the one who brings light into a heavy room, softness into a family that has grown used to coldness, truth into a relationship full of pretense, patience into a place where many only know how to leave. Do not underestimate that quiet influence. A small lamp in the night can still guide the one searching for a way. A spring of water in a dry place can still save the thirsty. A life placed in my hands, though quiet, can still spread like a holy fragrance, touching places you never expected. Therefore, do not ask whether your life is large enough for me to use. Ask whether your heart is willing to remain in my hands. I do not need you to become a copy of someone else. I do not need you to carry another person's echo, another person's appearance, or another person's journey. I have placed within you a unique way of loving, a unique voice, a unique history, and a unique depth formed through seasons when you thought you were only enduring. When you offer me both the small and the broken things, both hidden faithfulness and the chapters that once hurt, I can make something beautiful beyond what you imagined. Keep sowing love in the place where I have planted you. Keep speaking gentle words when you can. Keep choosing forgiveness when I lead you into freedom. Keep lifting others with the hand that was once lifted by me. Then one day you will look back and see that your life was never ordinary. It was a garden where grace quietly grew, a page where my love continued writing, a silent yet radiant testimony that in my hands, no seed of kindness is forgotten, and no wound entrusted to me is unable to become the place where new life begins.